Hey, Milanistas of the world. Welcome again to the Milanistas360 pod with your hosts, Hosni and Shane.
Hi
Pod out to
everyone.
you from Saudi Arabia and from Nairobi, Kenya. So, we're just going to do a brief recap of the Milan players that have featured in the World Cup. So,
As
yeah, it's been
promised.
an interesting, as promised, a bit delayed, but hey, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, so yeah, Hosni, Serginho Dest. What are your thoughts on him? Obviously playing for the USA.
Yeah, McDess, as we like to call him in the group chat. Not too bad, though I haven't seen anything special. As a right back, he still has not shown some great performances that would justify the buyout option at the end of the season. But there's still time, and USA is still in, even though they haven't really scored. The goal that takes them through to the next round could actually be from Des. He's been quite offensive and aggressive on the field. So those are the opportunities that really prove player. You got to do big things in big games, as people know. But then again, it's time will tell. Maybe this World Cup could be the turning point for Des. This could be where his valuation matches what Real Madrid, Barcelona, have expected of him. Uh, but it's all going to be Milan's benefit. As long as he gets minutes on the field, that's great. How about you, Shane? Do you think it's going to be a positive for World Cup for Serginho Dest?
Yeah, I mean, so the way I look at Dest, I guess. So if we look at the marking of how the left hand side is in defence, our world class defender isn't really a good defender. He's amazing going forward. So I think potentially, I'm talking about Hernandez, obviously. So I mean, if that's the blueprint for success, and they want to try that, I definitely do see a lot of potential going forward for Dest. So yeah, look, kind of yeah. I think like kind of like what you said. I think going forward, he's going to be good. There's maybe a couple of issues with him defending, but again, there's issues with Hernandez defending. So
To be
maybe
fair,
defending in today's
yeah.
yeah.
To be
Right.
fair, and of course we'll speak about Theo a lot later. Theo hasn't had to do a lot of defending, so the pressure has been quite a
True.
lot on Dest to prove that he's equally a defender and also a right back, right wing back option. But yeah, I agree with what you said.
True.
How about the next player that we have on our list, Mr. Simeon Kjaer?
Yeah, so I said it a couple of, well, I said it, I think it was kind of during the last podcast where we recapped the players' performances over the season. So the Milan players, I think Kier's kind of lost it a bit. I think what was saving him was he was very precise, he was very sharp. I'm not seeing this, and obviously the Denmark coach slash manager slash depending on what side you sit on, but the coach manager of Denmark, he's kind of maybe seeing that he's lost the precision as well. I know he started the first game, but the second game, then it was I I I think we should sell him. I mean, what do you think?
Well, there's two things that Kjaer stands out for. One is primarily his leadership, and that's why he's captain of the Danish team. In the first game, didn't look that great. You're right. Coming off the long-term injury, no player is ever going to look the same. But the one thing that we like to see is that these players do pick up and eventually get back to their old and their prime self. For a defender, Kjaer's age is not bad, but it's just that in the World Cup, the competition is, and trying to defend against players like Mbappe. Fortunately, he didn't have to
That's
do
it.
that. But
Playing against France.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to defend against those caliber of players, it's going to be tough. And if you're coming off for a long-term injury and you're not up to 100%, thrown in the deep end, you're going to struggle. So I understood why he didn't play the second game, and hopefully, maybe you could say that this World Cup is also in a way a training ground slash like a warm up for him to get back into the team for the remainder of the season. But for the case of Simon Kjaer, I wouldn't say that he's had a great a great World Cup so far. Denmark overall, again, Denmark is one of those teams whereby they're good, they ranked quite well, Euro wise, not bad. But then again, it doesn't look, to me, my personal opinion, it doesn't look like they have a great chance of making it through to the next round.
True, true, true. So what about CDK?
CDK, and I'm probably going to go on a little bit about him. He came on today as a substitute. Now, Belgium, if you look at the FIFA rankings, and everyone who speaks about Belgium, they keep referring to the rankings. Today, it proves that Belgium as a team, they're not worthy of a ranking of number 2 in FIFA. And CDK coming on, and he played the last part of the second half where they lost the game to Morocco. Wasn't great. Still some issues. He's still not looking solid on the ball. And Belgium has a lot of physical players like Lukaku and Batshuayi. I mean, those guys, they're big and they're built so they can hold up their own up front. But CDK, I'm sorry, guys. A lot of what we see in Milan and his performances, I'm seeing a lot in the Belgian national team. So he's there, and you could say the fact that Sam Makers has been in the Belgian team before, and he might have even made it into the World Cup squad had he not been injured this season. Maybe it's a case whereby they don't really have that much of a bench, just like us. But for CDK, everyone has hoped that this would be the World Cup whereby he regains his confidence. But I'm not seeing it, guys. I'm really not seeing it. You think any differently, Shane?
So I think 100% the talent is there, and I think the let's say the Belgian coach is probably guilty. Is the same thing as Pioli slash Maldini slash Massara. Like the potential is definitely there. The problem is that this is a player that's playing with no confidence, right? So whatever confidence he came in with to Milan, he suddenly lost it because he came from the Belgian league, which look, it's not to the standard of the Italian league, and now he's gone in against people that can actually defend. So I think he's going to carry that with him to the World Cup. I still think it'll work out. I still think he'll be a great player. But just this World Cup, I think it's a write-off for him. You know, even if Belgium get through, which after this Morocco result, I mean, it's up in the air. But yeah, I'd give him another year and let's recap on what CDK is doing. You know, assuming he gets another year, you know, because he might be off ending up going to the Premier League on a loan or on a transfer. That'll show you how impatient that Milan have gotten since there's actually money in the pot now. But that's a different conversation. But yeah, it hasn't been great for what I've seen from the Morocco game. I think especially he was thrown on too late. Um, he seems to get himself in a good position, but then he's just either too early or too late, and it's very frustrating. But I'm thinking it's probably frustrating for him as well. So hopefully he'll kind of he'll cop on as things go. But yeah, so next one, Theo Hernandez. What do you think?
Well, yeah. Well, Ballatore is next to CDK, but we're not going to speak about him because he's
No,
he's
there's no
injured.
point in even talking about Bello because he's been like he has been from Len, just invisible. So yeah, we'll skip him.
Well, straight on to Theo then. It's amazing. Capital A, amazing for Theo Hernandez. This is a symbol of our team. He renewed with the club, so we don't have any lingering problems about, just like a player that we're going to speak about later. Uh,
And he
Excellent
wanted to stay at the
performances.
club.
Have you seen his crosses? Good connection. Undoubtedly, France, they have a lot of highly rated and amazing players up front as well. So, when those crosses, when they connect, he's going in the back of the net. And the partnership with the player that we're going to speak about next is great. And this is where Theo is really in his element because what you see is that they are so offensive, France, in most of their plays, that he's comfortable being up front as well. Where he's being pushed to defend, still not a bad player, but it could be a mistake that's waiting to happen. And France, they didn't keep a clean sheet in the recent game as well, but I wouldn't fault them on that. Oh, did we lose Shane? Shane, I think we lost you there a bit. Sorry, guys. Bit of a technical issue. Shane, can you hear me? Hello, Shane. Let me see if I can fix this. Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to fix this. Give me a moment, please. Shane, are you there? Can you hear me? Shane, can you hear me? All right, so let me paste that back. Okay, well, while we're fixing this technical issue, I'm going to speak about Giroud. Uh, well, Giroud has been, simply amazing up front. He's equal to Thierry Henry's tally, something that's been widely reported. Let me see this. Sorry, got a chat from Shane. Oh, okay, Shane's having some connection problem, but yeah, we're gonna speak about Giroud. Yeah, well, still excellent up front. And yeah, one thing I'd like to say about Giroud is that despite his age, he can do a lot of things that younger players can't do, especially in the attacking position. So a lot of the teams where, and this is the reason why we're seeing a lot of these 0-0 matches or 0-0 first halves, is the fact is that they don't really have a dominant striker. Giroud is one of those dominant strikers. So despite his age, I don't see why he's not valued highly as well. It's easily, 20, 30 million. Why not? Yeah, well, I no problem. Okay, sure. Yeah, well, while waiting for Shane, let's speak a little bit more about the World Cup and what I wanted to mention about that statistic. Why are there so many 0-0 draws in this World Cup? Is it a case, and tell me what you think in the comments. Is it a case whereby the players are afraid of putting themselves out there a bit too much? The reason being is that they still have quite significant amount of season minutes, season games to go, or they're so afraid of conceding that they are not willing to commit themselves into these dangerous positions. Shane is back on the. Yeah, Shane, I can hear you. Indeed. Yeah, Shane, we're speaking about the Giroud. I can't quite see you on the screen, but yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, there
So
you are.
sorry about that. Ah, awesome. I'm here. No, so yeah. So Giroud is just a beast. I mean, for a player that's the age that he is, again, just not doing anything different for France than what he's done for Milan, especially, and Chelsea and Arsenal, and teams before that. He's very professional. Comes in, does his job. Absolute star, absolute legend. He doesn't really get enough credit nor praise from the press. Um, you know, I mean, he's an old style striker, scoring old style boring goals, which is basically creating the goal himself. Cannot speak highly enough of this guy. The only difference is obviously Theo, like talking about the French squad, Theo for me, obviously younger player. His value is shot up undoubtedly after this World Cup. So, of course, all the Premier League fanboys will no doubt be, wanting to sign him for their clubs. But yeah, Giroud has just been great. I mean, can't speak highly enough about this man. He's been amazing, really has. Um,
So
you
tell
know,
me, Shane, this World Cup and Giroud playing, you could say he's starting every game now, seeing as how Benzema seems to be out of it. I don't know if Benzema will be
yeah.
out the whole World Cup or just maybe the next few games he might be back. Uh,
Mm.
do you think he's able to carry over this confidence back into the remainder of the season? And will he be the main star if we get the second star?
So being purely selfish, right? I'd really like him just to get a bit of a niggling, tweaking muscle injury that just rules him out of the
No,
World Cup,
don't say it.
and then he's fine for the first Milan game. But no, I think yeah, he has. I mean, because he's not one of these guys that and he never really has relied on speed, or he's in the right. He's very much like in the way that he positions himself. He's very like Pippo Inzaghi, but he's not offside for most of the game. So he's I like him that way. I think so. I think so. Just because again, he's highly professional. Shows up in the big games when you need him to show up. I think yeah, I really think he could. I mean, look, and what did we pay for him? A million, one
Yeah.
million, and like for what he's done for us, I mean, this is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He's absolute star. So happy, really happy. Yeah.
Yeah, coming back to that million, and this is a case, if you compare to our other purchases, we mentioned CDKs. Everyone mentions CDKs 35 million quite a bit. But for this team, when we tend to pay a little bit, you're taking a smaller risk. So in the case of Giroud, yes, he came when he was, you could say, in the twilight years. Yeah, if you talk about the other leagues, they would prefer to go for a younger striker, and especially for EPL, they have the money to do so. For example, a Haaland. In the case for Giroud, he came to Serie A. A lot of people said he was washed out. He was a super sub in a large towards the end of his Arsenal career. He's a bench player for Chelsea. Didn't feature much in Milan, and this is where there's the big difference. He starts for us. He starts. He can do the 90. He can do 90 in consecutive games. He gets tired, no doubt. Any player would be, but the performance that those guarantees up front has always been there. And what I see, even though he's what now 35, 35, 36, is
Mm.
that still able to adapt his game. So when he first came to us, he couldn't hold up the ball. Yeah, it's just that what he wasn't used to doing. But eventually, and gradually, yeah, he learned how to hold up the ball, build the chemistry. He has that experience, and you could see the difference. Yeah, between the EPL, how he was in EPL and with Serie A. I think it's night and day. You could say that maybe we've turned back the clock on Giroud quite a bit. So can he go a few more years? Yeah, in my opinion, he could. And
Mm.
what's important is that as long as he still keeps delivering those goals, still very crucial towards our attack, I don't see an alternative to Giroud. And for the younger players that we're looking to bring on to our team, be it in the winter mercato or in the next transfer window, Giroud is going to be crucial because him performing is able to buy time for these other players to really get into the groove of things. And I know that a lot of other fans like to give players time, especially when they join the club. But Giroud, invaluable on so many fronts.
For 35 million. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Mr. 35 million. Okay, so how about the last player that we have on our list, Rafael Leao? Could we call him $100 million man or $150 million man?
I mean, judge it. So it depends. So based on ridiculous, not based in reality prices, aka the Premier League, I think he's 200 million. I think he's so yeah. I think this is it. Him playing like he's been playing has been great, just like Theo, just like Giroud. Um, just because it's kind of oh, who does that player play for, or AC Milan, okay, this is great, brings a bit of interest back into Milan. But I think this is I think we've seen our last game. I think Fiorentina's last game, unfortunately, for Leao. So yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, really, because great player. Really think he's a future Ballon d'Or, fully deserved as well. Very physical, just a great player all around. And I think we've seen the last of him in the Milan jersey. And it really hurts me to say that because, to be honest, I mean, I can see this guy scoring a hat trick in the Champions League final, or if he's not scoring a hat trick, he's setting up two goals and scoring one. So unfortunately, we're going to lose him to the likes of maybe Chelsea. Um, he probably won't get any time in Chelsea. They might play him for 2 games, realise that, oh, he has to learn the league as well. He won't get time, probably be sent on loan, uh, screw up his career, a la Kessie, and be last we see of him. I really want him to stay. I don't think he's going to stay, but I hope he's a great World Cup because he deserves it. As a player, he's been great, and he's just shown how great he is. What about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Fully agree with you. One thing that a lot of people don't mention enough, and you're 100% right about this. The more great players that we have in the international stage, it also elevates the profile of the club as well, because people will keep. They used to talk about AC Milan in the likes of Real Madrid, and especially the commentators. So now that we're getting those players onto the field into
Or
the
at
big
least to
stage,
fear us as well. Let's be honest.
oh, those
They
were the
used to
days.
fear
I
us.
think you're talking about the.
Yeah.
It might be ancient history to some by now.
Not even, not even. I mean, any club that used to play Milan in the Champions League, outside of the banter era, but we were feared, and rightfully so. You know,
Yeah, but for the case of Liao, you could argue that he's done his job. So he's won a Scudetto. His valuation is really high. If he delivers in terms of clubs willing to pay that 100 plus 150 million, can you really argue that he hasn't really given back to the club? He got us a trophy. What more could you ask for the guy? If he wants to go make his money, then we should see him. And I know a lot of fans don't really have negative thoughts about Kessie. In that way, is if he wants to make his money, then go. Kessie didn't. He left on free, so he didn't give us anything in return in terms of the
Mm.
transfer fee.
Well,
But Liao could be a
he's probably
different
going to
story.
Fulham or Leeds. So life choices, Kessie.
Same could happen to
Uh,
Liao. Once
yeah.
in Milan, you're adored. In the league, you were recognized as the most valuable player, MVP of last season. So there is a lot of capital in Serie A or in Italy for him. But you're right. Once you leave, you maybe got to start from the bottom, and you don't know how that ends up. Cassie, as you
Mm.
mentioned, excellent example. Yeah? I thought leaving with money, I'm sure, and I hope he's getting paid. I don't know what's the deal with Barcelona these days. I hope they finally paid
No,
him somehow.
it's monopoly money. He's getting paid in monopoly money because that's apparently how Barcelona does business nowadays.
Well, I
So
hope he
yeah,
buys Monopoly
interesting.
property as well with that money, because that's all he's gonna get.
That's it. Couple of greens, Kessie. Come on, man. Yeah.
But those, like you said, life decisions, you can take a turn and they think it is grass is green on the other side. You never know. But I wish him well. If he were to go, and I'm inclined towards the idea that if he leaves for big money, we're able to reinvest in the squad. We have positions that we really need to fix. Why not take that 100 plus 150 million? It can be put to good use. And the one thing about the league is that you don't really need a world class team, as in 11 world class players to win the league. We're able to do it with maybe what, three or four, arguably.
Mm.
So that's where I think we need to cement our position, become consistently champions or runners up of the league. And, we can continue to rebuild again that legacy. Anything ahead of Inter. And hopefully one day we'll be able to eclipse Juve, but with the money in sport these days, that's going to be a bit difficult.
The match fixing,
Match
the
fixing,
lack of Champions League medals compared to finals. Yeah. I know we'll try. We'll try.
which brings me to, you could say a bit of a tidbit towards the Serie A and the World Cup. Yesterday we saw Sato in the Argentina against Mexico game. Italian refs, man, they make a name for themselves. No one else needs to do it for them.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Easily bought. Easily bought. But
But Shane, I have a question for you. So you watched a few
mm,
games as well. Is there one player you could say that we should be keeping an eye on for the winter mercato, or even maybe for summer? One player that you've seen in another
Okafor.
team? Okafor.
Okafor. Yeah, I really
Okay.
like him. I think he'll. Yeah, I think he's really gonna suit Milan if he joins, which he probably won't now, to be honest, because his price tag has gone up. And if we couldn't find the 30 million to buy him, in the last window, we're not going to find 50 million to buy the same player. Um, Okafor for me, it's yeah. I think probably Okafor. How about you? Anyone else standing out?
I'm leaning towards Cody Gapko, and I know that we've been linked with him in the past. A huge amount of interest, not only the from us in AC Milan, but also from our rivals, our old-time rivals, Manchester United. Is it going to be money versus project? Despite of what Manchester United have done, I don't think they have a project. We have more of a project, and we've actually proven it. So that should be a bigger draw. But just looking at his profile, him being good in the air, he still has that space. I understand. Yeah, he's still quite a bit raw, not as developed as Liao in terms of how he is for our attack. But I'm seeing a player there, and especially for attack, we need goals, guys. Especially for this remainder of the season, we need goals. We need a lot of them. We need those clutch goals that Giroud has brought before. So Cody Gapco is the sort of player that I like to see, just as an option up front.
Yeah, we can't depend on Krunic all the time.
But
As
Pioli
much as I'd
disagrees
like
with you.
that.
He's defending Krunic all the time. I think in his
Yeah,
default squad,
yeah,
he has
because
Krunic there. It's just a matter of
that's it.
who are we going to put in his place, in Krunic's place.
Krunic times 11, man. Krunic times 11. But yeah, that's it.
All right, Shane. Well, I think that's our roundup of the AC Milan players. And any last words before we?
Yeah, let's never have a World Cup in let's say December or whatever it is. What is it? Yeah, November/December again, because it completely destroys the European League season. But anyway, besides that, yeah, it's okay. How about you? Any last
It's been
words?
interesting. A lot different than what I expected. So I had in mind that all these highly rated teams will be destroying their competition, but it's not been the case. Germany went down, Argentina went down. We've seen quite a few surprises, so that keeps it interesting,
Mm,
you could say. I don't think it's rigged in that sense to keep the sport alive and away from all
mm,
that controversy. But
very
it's
true.
nice to see these other continents and the teams from the other confederations doing well because the standards improve, and this is where we see that uh, as time goes on, the gap will close because players will become better. They'll start to employ better methods, training, whatever it is, tactics, able to outsmart their
Very true.
opponents. So the
Very true.
age of just dominating teams, I think it's over. If we disregard the Spain against Costa Rica game or the England against Iran, I think those
I
were
know. Yeah,
easily
it's
out,
coming home.
easily
Yeah.
balanced by the losses
Uh,
by Germany and Argentina. So it
yeah.
keeps the sport fun, and everyone
That's
likes a
it.
good surprise,
That's
I
it.
guess.
True. 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 And I never want to hear it's coming home ever again.
Definitely,
Anyway,
none of us do.
that's it. That's it.
Apologies to all the England fans if you happen to be watching this.
Kudos. All right, but so no, that about recaps it. So thanks for joining us, guys. Be back to you next week
Yeah,
with
thanks
some
everyone for
World
listening,
Cup
and
updates. And
yeah, thanks for everyone listening. And if you didn't know, we're also on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Discord. Really building up that social media presence. So appreciate you guys if you subscribe, follow us, comment, send us messages, anything. Yeah, we're just starting out, so we appreciate all the
awesome.
support. And thanks Shane
Thanks so
for
much.
for the time this evening. And yeah, we look forward to next time
All the technical issues too.
keeping you
They came
guys
for free,
entertained.
so
No more, hopefully,
go
no
on.
more.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thanks, guys. Forza Milan.
Forza Milan, everyone.
Italia è finita!